minute change scored by your captain, number 6, André Scarlett.
Okay.
So how did you get involved in football to start with?
Don't know. It started off probably from like a very young age, being about 7 years old. My cousin at the time, he was at Spurs as a youth like trainee at Spurs, and he got me involved with a team called Wadham in like East London. So I used to play for them every Sunday, traveling all the way from like West or Northwest London to East London every Thursday evening to do training, and then Sundays to play matches and stuff. And then progressing, like as a teenager, I started playing for my school team, Hounslow Manor, and luckily my PE teacher was he was a coach at Chelsea, and he was a bit of a dog's body. He did everything at Chelsea. He was like a kit man, did all like the under 16s all the way down to like under 12s maybe. Did everything at Chelsea, and he got me into playing for the school team, and then playing county football with school, and then progressed into play for Chelsea's youth from the age of I think 12 up to 16.
Then you ended up going to Luton. That made your debut in 98-99 against Oldham. You scored in that game as well, didn't you?
Yeah.
What do you remember of that game? Like, what was your feelings around the day, like making it first really there?
Yeah, to be fair, that day was quite a mad day. I had two of my best mates, Michael and Sonny. They both well, I say came with me, but my mate Michael, he drove all the way from say Bedfont, or picked me and Sonny up. So we drove from like West London. I can remember I think we picked Sonny up, and we was going. There's a bridge just by Felton Remand Centre, and I can remember him doing like as he was a bit of a crazy driver. He was doing well over the speed limit. We've gone over this bridge, taken off. I think we've pretty much flown over a car, landed on the wrong side of the road, and just being young and stupid, we all just kind of just like laughed about it at the time. And then travelled all the way to Luton, up the M25, up the M1. And that was my first recollection of that day, really, was just that I've been called up to be involved in the first team. I think, on the bench, involved in the squad. And that was my first recollection of it. And then after that, I don't really remember much around the day itself, apart from literally coming on, receiving the ball from the left back, and then getting absolutely clattered from the right back, and then he gets sent off. But I got up straight away. Didn't really think much of the tackle, but the player got sent off. And then after that, I scored a straightforward tap-in on my debut, which is pretty cool.
Contemptuous ease, but it was the dismissal of Scott McNiven, the tackle censored even by the cameraman, that got them started against Oldham. There surely could be no argument. André Scarlett came off the bench to net on his debut. Still no movement from our friend in the stands. Luton 2, Oldham 0.
From then, you had 3 years at Luton, only made 18 appearances in the league. Was it tough not playing, or was it just because you were still a young player who was just happy to be in and around it? Or
Yeah, I think I was young. I think I was definitely good enough, but I think when I look back at it, I think we had quite a few managers, especially towards the end of my time at Luton. We had quite a few managers. I think maybe 4 managers in that one season that the club got relegated, I think.
Yeah, in the 2000-2001 season, you had Ricky Hill, Lil Fucillo, and Joe Knitt all managed you.
Joe Knitt, yeah. So yeah, I think that was no. I don't really remember much of it. I remember quite a lot of being involved with Ricky Hill at the time, but I don't know. I think I got rid of my football agent, so that didn't really help me at the time when maybe I left Luton looking for clubs and stuff. But I think at the time, just remember being quite young, being in the team one week, doing really well, and then coming out of the team, probably because other pros who were like more established came back and they were like back from injury and stuff and were just put straight back into the team. So yeah, it's a bit of a strange kind of like end to my time at Luton.
Yeah. Your only other Luton goal was in a League Cup game against Peterborough. That was a 2-2 draw. You also ended up getting to the FA Youth Cup semi-final in 96, 97 before you made your first team debut. Ended up losing 3-1 on aggregate to Leeds. And that Leeds team had big players like Paul Robinson, Jonathan Woodgate, Harry Kewell in there. Do you remember much about that cup run?
Yeah, I just remember. I think the best thing about Luton, like growing up, like spending my time there as a teenager, was that we had probably like the best coach manager that I've probably ever worked with, a guy called John Moore. Very old-fashioned, and just growing up in an era where you had to kind of work for everything as well. So it was the old back in the day where you had to clean. You was assigned like a pro. You had to clean their boots. You had to bring their kit. You had to like basically look after all these players and clean baths and what have you. So it kind of made you grounded in the fact that you're working towards something. But I mean, going back to John Moore, being in that team and in and around my teammates at the time, we played absolute great football, and he was all about pass and move, give and go, keeping the ball on the floor. So I think back then as well, we would actually play against like Spurs and Arsenals like week in, week out, Watfords, and play against quite a lot of the like Premier League teams now. We would play against great players, and we all grew up playing absolute great football. And I think it helped a lot of the players at that time progress through into the first team. So the standard of training and just the level of it was just really high. And we had a lot of players go on to do like great things. So people like my roommate Emerson Boyce and my other roommate Matthew Taylor both went on to play Premiership football. Also along with Matthew Spring in my year, Gary Doughty in my year as well, Doherty, Big Dozza. Liam George played for the first team, played for like Ireland and stuff. Like we had a lot of players. Even Matthew Upson didn't really play a first team game, but he got sold to Arsenal. So we had like players coming through like left, right, and centre back then when we was teenagers. Yeah.
So obviously, like we touched upon, you had your last season at Luton. You played under 3 managers. Obviously, that's going to be tough at the best of times. And so then you ended up leaving from there. What was that last season like for you, like individually? Was it frustrating? And then where did you end up going from there?
I think it was frustrating, like touching back on what I just said previously about being in the team 1 week. So I think we played Sunderland in a League Cup game. I think we lost. I think Kevin Phillips played in that game. We lost, but Sunderland gave me like man of the match in that game. Their club gave me man of the match, and then the following return fixture back at Luton, or the game after that back at Luton, I wasn't even in the squad. I was like up in the stands watching the game, which is like really hard to take. So yeah, it was just like a really weird time. I think looking back as well, I remember being told that I was always welcome back to the club after the season finished. But when the season did finish, I never really heard anything back from the club to say, yeah, come back for pre-season, this, that, and the other. So it was quite difficult, quite hard, frustrating, not having an agent as well to kind of push you into looking for clubs and getting clubs and stuff. But I think what did help me was that I played some first team games, done pretty well. So maybe I had a little bit of a reputation, and then clubs kind of like asked me to come on trial. So I think I had a trial at Northampton, didn't go well. I think I ended up, if I'm correct, at Stevenage for a little bit. So yeah, I was at Stevenage for a little bit. I think signed there for a while and played a few games there, and it was just literally just like basically trying to find my feet and fly around and trying to get myself settled in somewhere.
And obviously you ended up at Staines in 2005. How did that move come about?
Yeah, so that came about through Steve Caudry from Cords. Yeah, I don't know really. I'm not quite sure how it came about. I knew like he obviously came in for me and he was like I was on the phone to him and speaking to him quite a lot, and I think it was a little bit of a period where we was just trying to sort things out and stuff. I'm not even sure what club I was at the time. I think I may have been at Chelmsford, possibly.
I think you were at Chesham at that point.
Chesham, yeah. I was at Chesham, doing okay at Chesham. Yeah, to be fair, yeah, I was at Chesham, yeah, doing okay at Chesham. And yeah, he was just calling me. And to be fair, like it was on my doorstep. And then once I just, I don't know, took the kind of like the courage to go down and actually speak to him face to face and actually go and see the club and see the facilities, it was like a no-brainer. Because I think non-league wise, you look at Staines and the way it was run back then, and the pitch itself was quality, probably the best non-league pitch. Definitely best non-league pitch, and probably better than most conference pitches as well.
And then you made your debut for Staines away at Folkestone and Victor. You scored as well. Do you remember much of that game at all?
Yeah. I think I remember scoring. I kind of remember it, but I don't. It's like a long time ago. But I think wherever I went, I think I probably scored on most of my debuts, which is just, I don't know.
Not a bad thing to do. That.
Not a bad thing to do. Yeah. To get yourself embedded into the club. But no, I don't really remember much about it. I remember scoring. I'm not even sure what the score was in the end, to be honest with you.
It was a 2-0 win.
Yeah.
As I say, you were at Staines up until 2012. Ended up making just over 300 appearances for the club in the end.
Wow.
You played a few as captain as well. Are you proud to make that many appearances?
Yeah, definitely. I think any player who makes that amount of appearances should definitely be proud of that amount of games and amount of appearances. I think it was definitely, when I was there, definitely a great time. We had some great times, some great memories. It was just a great club to be at. The whole kind of atmosphere, even from boardroom level right down to to the fans, into the bar. It was just like a good family atmosphere, and I think that's what sold it to a lot of players that came down. And I think a lot of players actually played probably as many games as me, but played quite a lot of games there just because of that whole family atmosphere. It's just a great atmosphere to be in.
Yeah. And then during your time in 2009, 2010, you won the Stainstown Facebook Player of the Year awards. It must be nice to get that kind of recognition after a decent season.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, it's always, I mean, you're always kind of like in your mind thinking that you've had like a fairly decent season, so you want to try and see if you can be rewarded in another way for it. A lot of the times it even tends to be, I think the strikers, but some great strikers, so like Ali Shaban and Mark Nokiji probably tended to get most of the awards, and maybe Sean goalkeeper Alloway as well had some great seasons. So yeah, I mean, from my time there right through, we had some great players that could have gone on to do better things as well.
So you briefly touched on like cup runs and stuff like that. So obviously you came on in the Stockport Cup game. It came on in the last minute, obviously.
Yeah.
Not a lot of time to do much.
Yeah.
And in the replay win, you were an unused sub. What was it like as an occasion, even if you weren't like getting the minutes on the pitch?
Yeah, it's massive for us. I'm not sure where the Stockport game, if that was the first kind of like taste of our cup runs. So yeah, that was massive for us, as just being involved in it, the whole kind of lead up to it, the whole atmosphere, the fans. We had a great kind of like loyal fan base at the time that would travel everywhere, and it was just good to be involved in that and give back to the fans and give back to the club as well. I think it was a great time. I think with me personally, from what I can remember, I think I always got injured around the big cup games. yeah, that's probably going to be my excuse, not being that I was not good enough to play in the team at the time. But I think the Millwalls, the Stockports, I think I was injured possibly at the time before the games came around, and maybe just got back fit enough to get involved. But no, it's definitely a great occasion to be involved in.
Yes, obviously after the Stockport game, went on to play Peterborough in the next round. Obviously, he was an unused sub in both in that game.
Yeah,
So it must be disappointing not to play, but let's say picking up a bit of injury around the time, so
yeah,
not the easiest thing. Then you fast forward a couple of seasons, you got the next cup run. You played the last 20 minutes in the win against Shrewsbury.
yeah.
But you didn't play in either of the games against Millwall. Was it nice to get a bit more time in that Shrewsbury win?
Yeah, definitely. It's always just good to be involved, especially in those big games. I always consider myself like to be a leader, whether if it wasn't talking, or not even talking, if it wasn't being involved on the pitch, it was just having that kind of like talking presence and just geeing the boys up and getting the boys ready. Because being a pro, you kind of have maybe more of a rounded experience into getting yourself ready and getting yourself psyched up, and just the importance of that you are playing more professional teams and stuff. So it was always good to be involved. Whether I was going to be on the bench or not, I would have been there anyway, just to show my support and be there for the boys.
And then, so obviously both cup runs had a couple of huge wins for Staines. Which cup run would you say was the better of the two of them, if you had to pick one?
I think it's probably got to be the Stockport Peterborough. I think was probably the best one. Just the whole, I think that was probably our first one. So just the whole occasion, the whole build up to it, the whole press coming down to the ground and us doing stupid like press shoots with like the Ali G costumes and all that sort of stuff. Sky Sports, like Soccer AM, coming down and doing stuff as well. Yeah, it was a good time to be involved. And yeah, just looking back as well, just the lads that we had involved at the club at the time, it was just a good group of like guys, best mates, just enjoying their football as well, which probably showed a lot through the results.
Yeah. And then in between those cup runs, you had the playoff win against Carshalton as well. So like successful time all round for the club really. Then do you remember much of the playoff game?
I think I scored in one of them. I think scored a header, or that might have been a league game against Carshalton, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think we played against Topping that season as well. Agent Topping, who then came to us maybe a season after, possibly. Yeah, I think back then, I think we were just thriving. Great manager, great assistant manager, coach, Maskell. The training we used to do as well. Our play was just also like just football. We play teams off the pitch, and I think everyone just gelled well, and we all knew our roles. And then you could give the ball to like a Noka G and Ali Shaban to just create some magic at the far end and stuff, and just everyone else around the team was just a good solid group of players. Yeah.
So obviously we touched on the cup runs and like the playoff win, but what other standout memories have you got from your time at Staines?
Don't know really. I think it's got to be, just like the cup runs. Possibly, I mean, off the back of the cup run, Alan Boone at the time, off the back of the cup run, he paid for all of the players to go to Spain. So we had a massive team out in Spain off the back of the cup run, which was obviously a great way to kind of like enjoy just like success off of that, and just being out again, just a massive group of like players, coaches, backroom staff, just going out and just enjoying ourselves off the great results that we had.
Ended up scoring 24 goals in the end. Any of them stand out for you as a favourite, or?
Probably got to say the goal. I think I scored 2, but maybe the goals against Woking, playing against my missus, playing against one of her twin brothers at Woking, taking him on and skinning him and then scoring a goal against him was pretty cool. I think it was actually the first time I got invited round to her house for dinner. And yeah, he was there for dinner as well. So it's made interesting conversation.
Were you sad to leave Staines in the end? How come the move came about in the end?
Yeah, I was definitely sad to leave. I think it happened like most of the kind of times happen throughout my career where a new manager's come in and they've just got their own ideas and stuff, and you're kind of like maybe not wanted or not needed. So it was like, yeah, now you've got to move on and seek new pastures somewhere. So I think, yeah, Marcus Gale came in. I'm not sure what his vision was, but a lot of the players that was there previously had gone. I was hoping to maybe stay and try and help him with the players that he was going to bring in. It was said that he was going to bring in like youngsters, so it probably would have been a good idea to maybe have a couple of experienced players in the squad to help them progress and get them embedded for the season and stuff. But it just wasn't to be, obviously.
Where did you end up going from Staines in the end?
I'm not even sure. Probably Walton somewhere. I'm not even sure. Or Wingate and Finchley. I don't know. After that, I had quite a few clubs flying around everywhere. After that.
Yeah, you knocked about a few clubs. I think it was St Albans, Met Police, Chipstead, Wingate and Finchley, Walton and Hersham, Walton Casuals, Walton and Hersham again, Westfield, and Hanworth Villa as well.
Yeah.
So I think in your time at Hanworth Villa as well, I think there was a game in the Senior Cup where you were assistant manager against Staines, and you came on for the last few minutes. Was that a weird occasion for you since you spent so long at Staines?
No, not really. I think it's just another game of football, really, and obviously you want your team to do well. So when Hanworth Villa to do well against your old team, I think that day was just good just to see a few familiar faces. It's just good to see a few familiar faces from Staines and just for them to recognise you and just to say hello and stuff. And also good to see like Staines, like where they were with like a few of their young players looking decent and seeing them that they could be progressing onto good things.
So where are you playing at? Are you still at Hanworth Villa now? Or
no, so at the moment I'm just playing a bit of vets football. But I've teamed up with my good mate who I've known since I was a youth trainee at Chelsea, who's got his own academy. My friend Godfrey Torto, who's got his own AG academy where he's like an agent and he looks after players and tries to get them moves, which he's done successfully to like loads of like pro clubs and non-league clubs and stuff. So I'm teaming up with him to do the same, really, just try to impart my knowledge through the players that we've got and try and help them be successful with acquiring moves to clubs and stuff.
Nice. If you had to pick a five-a-side team, you don't have to include yourself if you don't want to, but if you had to pick a five-a-side team from any of the people you played with over the years at Staines, who would make the squad?
Five-a-side, right? So it'd have to be Alloway in goal. What would I do? Alloway in goal. Probably have Adam Thompson at centre back because he's just a beast. Just energy levels are just ridiculous. Definitely Ali Shaban up front, so that's 3. Who else will I have in there? I'm going to put myself in there just to make it all tick. And who else will I put in there? Well, who else will I put in there? Maybe I'll just go with my old mate Toppin, just to kind of like smash some people about and get stuck in. Yeah.
Fair enough. And if you got any message for the Staines fans watching this?
Yeah, just keep supporting the team. Hopefully, I think we're in talks. Like a few of the old players, I think we're in talks of sorting out like a charity match or sorting out some sort of a match against the Staines side. So hopefully we'll come down soon. Or hopefully I'll be down soon, and hopefully I'll be in tow with a few familiar faces. So hopefully we can see quite a few familiar faces back then when we do come down. But if anything, hopefully just to keep supporting the team. I know the club's been going through a bit of a sticky time at the moment. Not quite sure what is happening at the moment, but hopefully the fans can still support the club through thick and thin.